So I just got done watching a video by Roddy Piper I posted on Facebook. And I've been a man of these, theories and, and, possibilities for a long time. I used to watch that movie all the time, They Live, and I thought, when I was young, I just thought it clicked. Something clicked in my head. And I don't know. I'm not trying to be someone who's self-righteous to the point where, like, I know everything or these theories. It's just something to think about. It's something to open your mind to. It's not self-righteousness. It's just awareness. And bringing awareness, and why I make these videos and things was, think about what you do on a daily basis for some of us who do the daily grind within the system. I almost live the same day over and over and over. Some good, some bad. The gym's great. I love repetition that way. But I always learn something. So it's not the same thing over and over. It can seem like that, but it's not. But everyday life, I go to work. If it wasn't for my family adding the little tidbits of character within my day, I'd be probably a working drone. I'm almost like a machine, especially when I'm surrounded by, I'm in an environment where I really can't open my mind or express myself because some people just can't. It's not that they're not capable of, it's just they don't know or they just get locked in. I mean, when's the last time you had a deep, meaningful conversation with somebody, truthfully, or really express the way you feel? Ever. I bet a lot of you don't. I bet a lot of you haven't in a long time. It's always the common BS, blah, blah, blah. The point being, getting back to what I was trying to say is, things gotta change. I don't know if it's going to happen in my lifetime, but I guarantee things are going to change either for the better or honestly for the worst. And if you look at things, I don't ever want to be negative, but I mean, we as a society, I'm coming at you as a dude who's just like, why, people like these thoughts. You're capable. You have them. And if you don't, then you're just so locked in to your way of life that it's very closed-minded. Because we as the people have the power. We as the people have the control. It's that we're so divided by such bullshit that we can't get it together. And the powers that be, whatever you want to call them, like the video. I'm not trying to get into conspiracy theories. To hell with those. I'm talking about real facts. We're divided by so much BS, and it comes from being uneducated and just being plain ignorant to the fact that, we're not really looking for the information, or, what's the word? We're, the information, but we're not, we're just so blindsided by such BS that, I don't know, with anger, resentment, with, just so many things, like life in general, like money, possessions, consumerism, you name it. It just blinds us to what's really going on. What is in your heart? The basic elemental functions of what life should be about. Love thy neighbor, I'm not coming from a religious sense at all. Faith is your faith. I have faith. That's what I run on. Faith and a higher sense of purpose and a higher sense of being. Do I believe there's a God? There's a God for everybody. Depends how you want it. Whatever makes you a loving, caring human being, all the power to you. That's what it's about. But it's not just about me. You can think about it and say, oh, talk the BS and be selfish. And what about, you got to think about the future. It's not about you. It's about the world you're creating for your children. You might not see it in this lifetime, but things will change. If the earth crumbles, we destroy it. We destroy everything around us. Who's going to suffer that? Your children are going to suffer that. If we go to war, we go to mass war with some country, because the people who have the power, the people who control. See, I've always had one thing, and anybody who knows me close, I have control issues. I hate being controlled. I don't like being controlled. Nobody likes being told what to do. I believe in working within reason, helping one another, helping each other, coming to an understanding and coming to a group decision. And even then, if it doesn't come down to, something you can all agree on, you go your separate ways. No disrespect. No, like, I don't like you, you don't like me. Say, hey, you respect each other's opinion, you walk away. But it doesn't always work like that. Power. One thing, it comes down to the smallest workplace, to an assistant manager who wants to tell they got problems, they got insecurities, who want to control somebody, to the White House, where people get this power and they play God. I mean, if you look at half the people who supposedly wanted good in this world and who were trying to make change and open their mind, they're all dead. I mean, anybody who tried to make a significant change in the world, I mean, I don't want to get into the history of it. There's always someone out there who can counter argument with you about anything. There's like 6 million facts. Well, it's this. Well, I'm not. I'm getting to simplicity. I'm not trying to overshadow what I'm talking about with these. I'm talking about simplistic matters. About loving one another, caring for one another, and trying to, save what we have. I mean, we're killing everything in sight. Literally. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to use that layman term. I hate that. But it doesn't take, someone with 100 degrees to come. If I can come up with this stuff in my brain, and I don't, maybe I'm just humble. Maybe I don't take myself to the point where I'm not saying I'm intelligent. I mean, maybe I should have more self-belief because, if I can come and talk to you like this, why aren't we talking? Why can't I go and find somebody to talk to about like this? Because nobody wants to hear it. And I get it. I'm not saying ruin your day. I'm not saying, get anxiety about it. But you have to be aware. And it comes down to making small changes. I mean, recycling and things like that. Stop killing everything in sight. Think about what you're buying. Think about what you're buying into, the people you're buying into. Because not everybody has sincere motives. Most of the time, everything's money driven. I mean, that's why I gladly do anything mostly for free. Yeah, I might die a poor, humble man, but when I go to my grave, I know who I am, I know what I was about, and I know what I stood for. Because we're all going the same place, and you can't take that shit with you anyways. You can't. You ever seen a U-Haul behind a hearse? Denzel Washington said that. Exactly. You can't take that crap to the grave. It's the way you affect people, and it's the way you motivate people, and it's the way you touch people. And really it comes down to, I promote this all the time. It doesn't take a tough. Everybody thinks they're bad. Everybody thinks they're badasses. Everybody thinks they're tough. And most of the time you're walking around, you're not thinking. Tough, you want to be tough? Start thinking. Start being aware. Being tough is, standing up for something. Being tough is, not following the guidelines and the whole institution of, people act like they're tough, but we're all controlled. That's what I'm trying to say. You don't think you're controlled in some way or another. You are by money, your current, job situation. I mean, you have the power to change things, don't get me wrong, but within the reason, there's only so much you can do. I'm talking control real things, speaking up for real things. And you wonder why I'm always promoting stuff about saving animals and stuff on my Facebook page. I mean, because we take life like it's nothing. Human beings, there are people who, they're almost like, with that video, that guy made a point, most people are almost like sociopathic to an extent. You'd be surprised how many people who are so locked in and lost hope, lost faith, lost the will to feel, that they don't care what they do or who they hurt or what they just don't care. It's just normal. They said, well, this is part of the game. This is the way the world works. This is the way the world structures. But they don't realize we as a collective can change things. We, when I say we, that means everybody. We don't have to agree on everything. We don't even have to get along about everything. But we have to come to a point where it's like, well, hey, what's going to ensure me to actually be able to do something later on in life? What is what can we do to ensure that our kids have a healthy planet to live on, or there's going to actually be something left to eat or whatever, or find better alternatives to eating. I mean, you look around you, and truthfully, look around you, and the truth is there. You're all highly intelligent people. You see it around you, but you're in denial, like we all stay in denial. Health problems, the shit we're eating, the chemicals they're full of. I mean, the list goes on, and I'm not here to preach. But I just want to know that I'm far more aware than, what I'm going to give most people give credit for. You just go, I mean, think about this. This is me ranting in a video. Will it make a difference? I just want to tell people I'm aware. And, I was always willing to help anybody, anytime, and take the shirt off my back. But, you know, when people look at you and you talk a certain way, you get too deep, and it's like, man, they turn off. It's like, hey, whoa, that's too passionate, or that's too intense. You're too alive. Because eventually people, man, they just get beaten down. They just do the same thing. And I know what it's like. I battle that shit every day of my life, man. I'm going to go do the same thing again. I'm going to work. I got to make money. You know, but I do have choices. Don't get me wrong. But choices within the system, choices within the confines. I'm not truly free. And I believe in hard work. I believe in hard work. I believe you should work for what you want in life. Work your ass off, man. I'm not saying that, but I think the world needs to change. Not make it easier, but we need to change. We've been doing the same shit so long, for so long, hundreds of years, and where are the improvements? You really think we have improvements? Technology is not improvements. I mean, it's great that I can communicate to you people, you know, and we can create. That's great. But is it really serving the right purpose? And you can get so deep in your own mind and start thinking of everything and aspects, and there's positives and negatives, and it really racks my own brain. Maybe I'm crazy, you know, a little bit, but hey, I mean, you think technology has its advantages, but none of it's being used to its advantages. Like, I can sit here and tell you, and we could change the world. We can make each other more aware, love one another better. That's what it's coming down to. I'm just keeping it simple. I'm not trying to get to deep theories about the government or anything. I'm talking about fuck the government, fuck that shit. Take care of the guy next to you. If you know, most people are just broken down from life, beaten down, and they turn angry, resentful. They don't have the American dream, and they think that's all it's about. It's not. And they get so frustrated with what they don't have. And I know, I can speak. Sometimes I get locked in that way of thinking. You know, I'm grateful for opportunities and grateful for things the way the world has. I'm grateful, you know, there's bodybuilding and music, and I wouldn't take that away. I'm just thinking the structure of things, the way the system works, we could change the world in a better. It's got to change, doesn't it? I mean, you think about how long you've been around and how long it's been working the same way, and you're like, well, we're still making the same mistakes. We're still doing the same things wrong. I mean, come on. I mean, you think you want your kids to live this life? You can only hope. You have children. You want them to have better. You want them to be better. You want them to see and do things you never thought you could do or even thought possible because your mind was so limited in the way you thought. You want them to go beyond. You want them to see and be in a world and maybe make a change. There's only so many people, man. It's been that, you know, these public figures. Everybody, you know, how do they do it? You wonder how they ever did it. Like Muhammad Ali, you know, he was in a situation, he was in a position to be, and he stood up. And that's what we all need to do eventually. But it's just me ranting and talking, right? And eventually, you know, sad part is, you know, if you get that opportunity, you know, nobody wants the truth and nobody buys what's real. Real doesn't sell shit. Tell me about it. If that was the case, my social media would be blooming, you know, blowing through the roof. But the more, I'm not going to sit here and try to be something I'm not. I'm not going to blow smoke up your ass. You're going to get honesty from me, at least the way I feel about things. If I care about someone, I tell them I care about them. If I love them, I'm not scared to tell them love them. I don't have built up. You're talking about a guy who was born and raised in a world of fucking violence or, you know, hate and drugs, alcohol, you name it. I've been there, and there's people who've been through 10 times worse than me. I know what child abuse is like. I've seen sexual abuse. I've seen all types of abuse. I grew up in it. I grew up in a very uneducated, very rural background where people were fucking, I've seen the worst of what people can do for money, for anything, for social status, for control. It's always about the power. They want the power. They don't want to find the power within. They don't want to find the power to change themselves. They want control over people. And I can't stand that. I'm ending this rant with, I can't stand people wanting to control other people. That's the worst thing you can do is try to control. It's your life, it's their life. And that's why I'm just making this video. I'm not trying to tell you how to think. Think for yourself. I'm not trying to tell you how to live. Live for yourself in the sense of live for what you think is right. But I think there's fundamental ideas, and that's what I'm trying to tell here. Fundamental. It's like being aware. Got to open our minds, or we're never going to change anything. And that applies to me. You know, I need to take my own words of wisdom and words I'm speaking right here and applying to myself, because some days it's easier said than done, I know. Nobody's perfect.